When I think of economics as the science of choice. I'm Dr. Tammy Batson, and I'm the undergraduate coordinator for the Department of Economics here at NIU. As individuals, every one of our decisions that we make, we kind of go through some sort of cost-benefit analysis, whether it's just to watch television or it's just to go to classes that day or to not go to classes that day. If you believe in scarcity, which is one of the fundamental premises of economics, one of the things you know is scarce is your time. And so once you know that each time you decide to make your next decision, that requires some sort of cost. In economics, we call it opportunity cost. What did you have to sacrifice to go to that party? Whether it was sleep, or whether it was another party, or whether it was studying for your final, the rational thinker is going to try to make decisions in which the benefit exceeds whatever cost they're going to have to give up. It's not just really only about the math or the numbers that many may see as the economy as a whole. That's more about us assessing the choices that you made before that, your choice to produce, your choice to consume, your choice to participate in these different markets. Another thing that economics can also help with is when there's the absence of price. When we talk about time, that's one of the places where the absence of price really happens. You don't know necessarily what the amount of the cost of your hour is or the cost of your time. So sometimes values of goods can change because the current scenario requires a different, I would say, utility placed on goods. When we were talking with in the middle of the game for quarantine, one of the things I mentioned is that previously desks could cost $50, but once quarantine happened, who cared about desks? Previously you may have given them $50 worth of worth, but in the middle of a scenario like that, $50 worth of cereal would way exceed $50, and that desk would be worth zero at that point. Like, what do you care? And so because of the change in circumstances, the change in time, different goods will have different values to those seeking them. So when we have a functioning price system, we think prices help us manage those shortages, those scarcities. When those cease to function, other alternatives are going to have to show up, and it's more of a barter system. And so what you will see is those scarce goods now can barter for a greater amount. So water becomes important, food becomes important. When they played that game, one of the things we saw is that one of the students had an iPad. An iPad worth $400, but they could, in that game, in that bartering system, couldn't trade it for anything, because who cares about that at that point? It wasn't the utility that many of the people with playing in that game were seeking, right? Like, they wanted to make sure they had medicine and food. In a normal society, aspirin, you probably could have had, 300 bottles of aspirin for an iPad, but once we get to a new scenario where your utility has changed, now aspirin outweighs the value of something like